Pauli Murray's story could easily be set in the present, because people face the same challenges and struggles today. But Murray lived in a time before the civil rights movement, before transgender and non-binary were identified, a time when discrimination, fear, and hatred were even more widespread and in some cases legally condoned. Her pioneering work to free us from those challenges continues to inspire hope today. Pauli Murray was an American civil rights activist, a lawyer, a poet, an Episcopal minister, and later a saint and a writer. I'm Terry Price, and I have always enjoyed traveling and exploring little-known history that's captured on highway historical markers. If that describes you too, I invite you to join me. Anna Pauline Murray was born on November 20th, 1910, in Baltimore. When she was 3, her mother died. Her father moved her to Durham, North Carolina, to live with her maternal grandparents, Robert and Cornelia Fitzgerald, and her aunt, Pauline Fitzgerald Dame. The importance of education was stressed in the Fitzgerald household, and Murray grew up loving and excelling at academic challenges. She graduated in 1926 with distinction from Hillside High School, a school for African American students. Living in Durham during the early 20th century exposed Murray to the realities of Jim Crow laws, racial segregation, and discrimination, which were prevalent to varying degrees nationwide, but especially in the South. There's little doubt that these experiences influenced Murray's activism and commitment to fighting for social justice and equality. Society's understanding and acceptance of non-binary identities was limited during much of Murray's lifetime. Language such as non-binary and transgender was not available, but her writings suggest she identified as a man, born in the wrong body. Murray, who was assigned female at birth, expressed a fluid and non-conforming gender identity. She described herself as having a mixture of both male and female characteristics. In correspondences with family, Murray often self-described as he/she. Later, in her professional writings, Murray used she, her, hers pronouns. As a young adult, she adopted the more androgynous name Pauli. In a letter to her Aunt Pauline in 1943, she confides, "I don't know whether I'm right or whether society or some medical authority is right. I only know how I feel and what makes me happy. This conflict rises up to knock me down at every apex I reach in my career, and because the laws of society do not protect me, I'm exposed to any enemy or person who may or may not want to hurt me." Murray pursued medical intervention to correct what she saw as a personal imbalance, and wrote about her gender and sexuality throughout her life in her journals, asking if she was perhaps one of nature's experiments, a girl who should have been a boy. She had deep emotional connections and romantic partnerships with women, which played a significant role in shaping her personally and professionally. Her partnership with Irene Barlow, whom she met in the 1950s, was her longest. They were partners until Barlow's death in 1973. Murray enrolled at Hunter College, a women's college in New York City, in 1926 at 16 years old. There, she demonstrated her exceptional academic abilities and commitment to education and her pursuit of intellectual growth. She graduated in 1928 with an impressive academic record. Murray experienced race and gender discrimination and inequality firsthand. In 1938, she applied to the University of North Carolina School of Law, but was rejected based on race. She also applied to Harvard Law School, but was rejected because she was a woman. Murray chose to pursue a law degree from Howard University and graduated at the top of the class in 1944. Murray's advocacy work spanned a variety of areas, including racial segregation, women's rights, and LGBTQ+ rights. Her work challenged societal norms and sought to address the intersecting forms of discrimination faced by marginalized communities, including the discrimination experienced by individuals whose gender identities did not fit within the traditional binary framework. Her influential article in the George Washington Law Review titled "Jane Crow and the Law, Sex Discrimination and Title VII" had a far-reaching influence on women's rights and the advancement of gender equality. Murray's legal expertise and writings played a crucial role in shaping arguments used in civil rights cases. For example, she provided legal analysis and strategy in the Williams v. North Carolina case, which challenged racial discrimination in jury selection. Murray's work on the concept of separate but equal and the harm caused by segregation were foundational to the legal strategy employed by the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund in Brown v. Board of Education. Her focus on the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment influenced the arguments put forth by Thurgood Marshall. She emphasized that segregation in education perpetuated inequality and violated the rights of African American students. Murray's work, including her book States' Laws on Race and Color, provided essential research and legal analysis that informed the NAACP-LDF's arguments. Their arguments led to the Supreme Court's landmark decision in 1954 and marked a significant turning point in the fight against racial discrimination and segregation. Murray's contributions were integral to the legal strategy that brought about this historic decision. In 1977, she became the first African American woman ordained as an Episcopal priest. Her ordination broke down barriers and paved the way for greater inclusivity within the Church. Murray's ministry was deeply rooted in her commitment to social justice and her understanding of the intersectionality of various forms of oppression. She advocated for the inclusion of marginalized communities and emphasized the importance of addressing both racial and gender discrimination within religious institutions. Murray's theological insights and writings also contributed to discussions on the intersection of faith, identity, and justice. Murray had a significant influence on United States Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Murray's legal and activist work, as well as her writings, played a pivotal role in shaping Ginsburg's understanding of gender discrimination and the pursuit of equal rights. Her article Jane Crow and the Law, Sex Discrimination and Title VII had a profound impact on Ginsburg's thinking. Murray's analysis of the parallels between racial and gender discrimination helped Ginsburg recognize the need for a comprehensive approach to fighting discrimination and paved the way for her own legal arguments. Ginsburg and Murray met in the 1970s and corresponded regularly, discussing legal strategies and sharing ideas on how to advance women's rights and combat discrimination. Ginsburg considered Murray a mentor and a source of inspiration. In a 1979 speech at Harvard Law School, Ginsburg said, "I owe more to Pauli Murray than to anyone else." In 1961, President Kennedy appointed Murray to the Presidential Commission on the Status of Women. Murray's appointment was a recognition of her expertise and commitment to advancing women's rights. She was also a co-founder of the National Organization for Women with Betty Friedman and other activists in 1966. In an oral history interview, Murray spoke about understanding the connections between racial and sex discrimination and oppression.
I do believe that white women who understand what it means to have a diminished personhood, diminished sense of personal dignity and worth because of one's sex, do have a basic stand, in a sense, from which to understand a little bit better what it means to be a black. Because if you rip away everything, the business of oppression is the business of not respecting one's personhood.
Although Pauli Murray succumbed to pancreatic cancer on July 1, 1985, her life's work continues to inspire hope today.